Hey everyone, today I'm joined by Jason Ānanda Josephson Storm yet again to talk about the journal Metamodern Theory and Praxis that has now launched. We've just put this out and it is available to check out, to download. It's open access. All the articles are available to read for free. And we wanted to, just kind of put this on people's radar and talk briefly about this first issue. So Jason, thanks again for coming on the podcast and talking about this.
As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everybody. Um, so we're really psyched. We have our first issue of a journal. I think we put out the call, as we were saying, like about a year ago. We had a bunch of great submissions that kind of rolled in. It took a little bit more work to get this first issue out than I had anticipated. There were a lot of little logistical things we had to get sorted, but I'm really thrilled with the way that it came out. So yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was really interesting. I mean, there's a lot that goes into getting a journal like this off the ground and trying to sort of navigate all of the kind of deep administrative logistical things to get it in databases and do the metadata and all that. So it's taken us, a little bit over a year. I think it was just about a year that we put out our introduction to this project. But it's been, a really rewarding process. And to see this first issue come out is, really, really, I don't know, fulfilling, satisfying for me. And I hope other people get a lot from it. It's got, as the name suggests, both a theory section and a praxis section. So we've got art in here, but we've got works on metamodern theory. We've got applications of sort of metamodern paradigmatic thought to various fields of study. Won't get into just a full-on breakdown of the whole issue for, people who are interested can go and check it out. But yeah, maybe say a little bit, Jason, about like, again, just to remind people, like, where is this project coming from? What kind of got this going? Say a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, in or shortly after the publication of my metamodernism book, I started getting contacted by a much wider range of people than normally respond to academic publications. I mean, I get, maybe because the timing was right, there's like kind of a zeitgeist. I mean, it's not just my work, but the notion of metamodernism was really bubbling to the surface. And I started getting contacted by people who read the Metamodern book, and then they said to me, we want to, how can we participate? Like, where is it happening? We, even more so, than other kinds of purely academic audiences. I had contacts. I was emailed by like a labor rights lawyer from Chicago and some tattoo artist in Barcelona, and also plenty of graduate students and postdocs and academics, especially in various forms of precarious positions from all over the world. Especially there was a lot of pickup in the Spanish-speaking world, but even beyond that, just kind of internationally. And so I thought, it's a shame that there is no way for folks to contribute to this, especially because I think of academics very much as a collective enterprise. It is not a world in which there is one, great dude who moves thought. Rather, always, even behind what look like unitary figures, are often communities, intellectual communities. And so I wanted to try and think about how to generate a more positive, exciting, engaged community, and one that wasn't just confined to publishing more articles that nobody reads, but that also had perhaps some political implications or artistic implications or what have you. And so I'm really psyched that in this journal we were kind of able to bring that together. It's already clear in the first issue, a very international crowd of contributors from Europe, the United States, Great Britain, and Latin America, and and a lot of cool and interesting stuff. So I'm really psyched about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, one of the things, really I would say one of the core motivations slash aspirations for the work that you're doing is to trigger a kind of paradigm shift, as I think I've heard you phrase it before, and to provide sort of a kind of exemplary model for what that could look like in academia. And so to move kind of beyond this postmodern paradigm into something more like a metamodern paradigm, that takes many, many voices. It takes a whole kind of intellectual community to participate in something like that. And so, I loved your book and the kind of ideas that you lay out there for a more productive movement forward and the advancement of ideas there. And likewise, I see a lot of what's happening in the sort of metamodern scene as sort of gesturing in that direction, that there's a lot of energy, a lot of insight, a lot of perspectives that are I think a meaningful part of what is emerging and what's coming next. And so I think, thinking about this journal as sort of a container for or a platform for, a stage for amplifying those voices and trying to just again move thought forward in that way.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and I'll add that, because of where this is going to come out, that your YouTube channel has also been a great kind of community building.
Hmm.
You've had wonderful guests on there, and I know that you have a lot of folks who are subscribing it and watching it. And so, hopefully, viewers of that YouTube channel should see this journal as a potential place that they can contribute. And one of the things that we're also very interested in doing, and this is part of the politics behind it, or maybe not politics, but academic politics. I mean that in the less left-right sense than in a concrete to the academy kind of way, is that we're not credential policing. So a lot of academic publications are not actually double blind in the humanities. And if you don't have a current academic post, or if you don't have a PhD from somewhere, then the journal will often exclude your work without even reading it. And we very much didn't want to do that. It's true that a lot of the folks who contributed to our issue are academics in some way or another, but not all of them. And I just want to make sure that we note that the journal is open to folks, regardless of their current, position vis-a-vis the academy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that was sort of interesting and a challenge, but I think ultimately kind of panned out really well for this issue, is how do we balance all these different kinds of metamodern voices and different sort of strands of this discourse, and I think that we've got sort of a nice kind of openness here to some of the different ways that people are engaging this paradigm, and that to me seems important, to be able to kind of draw from the best of what is out there of people trying to sort of advance thought in these different ways, and to also draw on that kind of energy and momentum. So yeah, there's kind of a diversity in that sense here as well. But it is also a really powerful potential vehicle to really operationalize some of the ideas that you had introduced in your book, Process Social Ontology and Hylosemiotics, and we have thinkers kind of engaging with those frameworks and doing work with them. And so yeah, I mean, like for me, I'd love to see this blossom, flourish into a really robust, ongoing endeavor where you've got just increasing engagement with these different modes of thinking and these sort of different paradigmatic models. Because again, as you say, the kind of postmodern paradigm reaching diminishing returns, it feels like we are overdue for some kind of new ways to approach issues in the human sciences. And whether it's ideas that you put out in your book or other emerging ideas that are showing up in contemporary thought, we hope that this is sort of a place where those things can percolate and cross-pollinate. The official kind of description of the journal is anti-disciplinary, but you can also
Yeah.
think about that as sort of like a breaking down of silification, trying to bring in different modes of thought from different places, and not just be sort of limited to a particular discipline or given field. And so that's, I think, also an important aspect of this, is like its sort of breadth, but also its depth. So this is our first issue, but I think it came together really well, and I'm really excited to see what comes down the road. And once people start engaging with this and seeing that this is out there, I'm really excited to see what kinds of new submissions we get. Anyway, just wanted to
Yeah,
throw that
yeah,
out
me
there.
too. And I think for we'll try and do a round of interviews with some of the contributors, so we'll get to go into more depth on the specific contributions. But I think also folks who want to get a sense of what the journal is, it's free. You can just look at the PDF. This is not one of those Open access things that asks the authors to pay money either. It's not a scam. You can just look at the PDF. You can download it. If you are somebody who prefers to read in a physical format, you can order a physical copy as well. But there's no necessity for access to it that way. But I also think if folks look at it and read it, they'll have a better sense of the kind of stuff we're interested in. And Brett and I have a co-written introduction, which is pretty sweet. And it's kind of has a manifesto-y quality, and I hope people will check that out. I think it's trying to sort of bridge the feeling of an academic community and a kind of art manifesto. And so we'll see how that comes across, but it might make for a fun read. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think we basically covered all the bases I wanted to hit. Just to again put this on people's radar. Obviously, I'll put a link to this in the description and everything, and I'll be sharing it around. I know Jason will be too. And feel free. Again, we've got this call for papers right now going on. If you check this out and you are interested to submit something, we just put up. I think our deadline now is March 15th of 2025. So you've got a good amount of time now to if either pull something together that you've been working on or start something. And so all the information that you would need to find for the where to submit that is on the website. So check that out. Yeah. Any other final thoughts, Jason, about this project, this journal, metamodernism in general?
I'm pretty excited with how this came together, and I'm excited to grow this journal. So also, if there are viewers of this who are thinking of other ways to contribute, maybe you don't have an article, but you have the time to do some, I don't know, peer reviewing for us, or you have some creative project that you can that is somehow connected to or potentially related to metamodernism. Please, be in touch with us. We may also put together an additional advisory board. So for folks who might be interested in that end of it, and for those folks who did submit things and we sent it back, so I'm hoping that you will. We've often made suggestions for how something could be improved or revised, and I hope that people will follow through on that, because we did get more stuff submitted than we were able to publish, and so I think. But I'm excited that what we are all the all quality of the whole thing from top to bottom. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, just to echo that too. Yeah, definitely looking for people who might be interested to be a part of this at some other level than just submitting a work. There's a lot that goes into trying
yeah,
to compile something like this, and so please reach out if you are interested. In either the functions that Jason was just talking about, or if you have experience doing various kinds of visual, Photoshop work or things like that, or you have some experience doing any kind of journal production, obviously,
yeah,
or various admin things. It's a lot to do something like this, and we're hoping to build out maybe some more of a team of people
yeah,
who could, and then that way, obviously, the more we've got that kind of support, this could move from being an annual journal to a biannual journal, et cetera. So we could start to
yeah,
put more stuff out there. And it's been an honor, Jason,
yeah.
working
It's
with
my
you on
pleasure.
this. Again, just really excited to see what comes next, and to continue to see what you continue to put out, and the work that you're doing. I know you're working on a book, which maybe we can have a
Yeah,
separate conversation about at some
totally.
point, because I got to take a little bit of a look at that, and it's really exciting stuff that if people who know your work will find it a natural extension and continuation of the stuff that you're doing. And so yeah, things are moving and developing, and we are excited for people coming along on this ride with us, and for engaging your work in such a cool, intelligent way. So yeah, well, Jason, Ānanda, Josephson, Storm, thank you again very much, and we will be chatting again very soon.
Sounds good. As always, a pleasure.
Thanks. Take care.